Many characters in Stephen King's writings have some kind of supernatural ability. In Firestarter, it's starting fires. In The Shining, it's The Shining. In Cujo, it's rabies, and in Cat's Eye, it's sensing when a tiny, otherworldly creature is trying to kill Drew Barrymore. These visions of potential danger end up sending a cat on an adventure that puts Oliver and company to shame. And along the road, we experience 3 terrifying tales that put each of the cat's 9 lives into severe danger. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's just hop right in. We open with the cutest little actor cat named General. He's having a bit of a rough day as a rabid, Cujo-looking dog spots him and begins to chase him through a neighborhood. We get a quick cameo from a car named Christine before the cat hops onto a truck, leaving Cujo and the neighborhood behind. When the cat gets out, he stops by a store window where he sees a mannequin of a little girl seemingly come to life. She says that something is coming to get her, and that she's in real danger, and apparently only the cat can help her. But before the feline savior can head off and save the kid, this random dude catnaps him and kicks off our first story. This one stars James Woods as a smoking addict who's trying to quit. His friend tells him about a program through Quitters Inc., which has a guarantee that it will stop you from smoking, so James signs up. When he gets into the lobby, he sees a man who looks incredibly disheveled, and a few minutes later, the man's wife comes out of a back room looking even worse. The two leave, but not before the husband says that he's the one with the smoking addiction, so keep that in mind. James gets called into the back office and speaks to the man in charge of Quitters Inc. This man is Dr. Donati, and he tells James that he has officially signed up for the program. He takes all of James's cigarettes and destroys them on the spot. He then says that the main tactic they'll be using involves a small metal room, and inside we see General just chowing down. Dr. Donati then clicks a button and the floor begins to zap poor General. James begs for the man to stop and realizes that he's a total psycho. He goes to leave, but Dr. Donati warns that James is now part of the Quitters program, so that means that someone will be monitoring him 24 hours a day for the first month. And if James starts smoking again, then they will kidnap his wife and put her in the little room for a little bit of zapping time. Now, James isn't quite sure what to think. He's pretty sure that he's just met the craziest man in the world, and he hasn't had a cigarette in a few hours, so he's starting to get a little bit grumpy. In the night, he sneaks down into his office where he has a few emergency cigs stashed away. He puts one into his mouth but stops when he hears something fall in his closet. When he investigates, he finds that there is a man hiding inside, but it's okay because he didn't end up smoking the cigarette. The next day, Dr. Donati finds James and confirms with him that everything they discussed is completely real and that he is being monitored by someone at all times for this first month, and that if he does start smoking again, the consequences will be dire. James does great at quitting for a few weeks, but his paranoia grows alongside his cravings. At a house party filled with smoking friends, James thinks that he sees people watching him from everywhere, envisioning even the paintings and the veggie tray are working for Quitters Inc. But despite his friends' continual pestering, James doesn't break his quitting streak.
Shove it up your ass, Hal. What? Lit?
A few more days pass, and James finds himself in a bit of traffic. While reaching into his glove box, a spare cigarette falls out, and the cravings and the temptation finally get to him. He rationalizes that there's no way that someone is watching him right now, not in the middle of traffic, on a bumper-to-bumper road, with no sidewalk or suspicious onlookers nearby, so he lights it up, and he takes a few puffs of that old tobacco-y goodness. But his moment of bliss is ended when he sees the man in the car beside him is watching with a knowing grin, and then he quickly drives off. James rushes home, but when he gets there, he receives a phone call from Dr. Donati telling him that they have his wife and asking him to come to Quitters Inc. right away for a little meeting. When James gets to the office, he sees the henchman from the highway and his wife inside the little room behind some one-way glass. But he doesn't accept this willingly. James does his best to fight off the henchman and free his wife, and in this little scuffle, General is able to make a break for it and escape Quitters Inc. Unfortunately for James, the men are able to overpower him, and then they force him to watch as they zap his wife for a few minutes. After the zapping, James explains to his wife what's going on, and they don't really have a choice other than to just accept their situation and live with the ever-lingering threat of Quitters Inc. towering over them. We see an indeterminate amount of time later, James checks in with Dr. Donati, and his quitting is going well, but he has started to gain a little bit of weight. He and the doc are all buddy-buddy now, but Donati warns him in a joking manner that if he gains too much weight, he'll have to cut off his wife's pinky finger.
Oh, hey, I'll send the guy to your house and cut off your wife's little finger.
You killed me.
Have a good day, Dick.
Take it easy, huh?
Right.
Later that night, James and the wife have some friends over, and when they go to toast the success of Quitters Inc., James sees that his friend's wife is missing her little finger, and he realizes again that Quitters Inc. is no laughing matter. But that's all we get to see for Quitters Inc. and for James Woods, because General is finally on his way to save Drew Barrymore. But not before another quick snag. As General is trying to cross a busy road, a rich fella makes a bet with his friends that the cat will end up getting hit by a car. General slips across the street with absolutely no issues. And the rich fella decides to take the cat home with him and give us our second story of the movie. This one revolves around a man named Johnny and his newfound love. He and his girl plan to leave the city early the next morning, but have to wait until the banks open up to get a little bit of cash. They seem to be in a hurry for some reason, and we find out why just as the two part ways. Johnny is about to get into his car when the gas man from Dumb and Dumber abducts him and takes him to the home of the rich fella that we saw just a little bit earlier. We find out that the girl that Johnny is trying to run away with is the rich fella's wife, and that starts off a whole lot of problems. Obviously, the rich fella has an issue with Johnny, but he's also a gambling man, so he forces Johnny into a little bit of a situation. Apparently, the rich dude has planted all kinds of nasty things in Johnny's car, and he's going to call the cops and get Johnny put away for a long time if he doesn't agree to a little wager. He takes Johnny out to the balcony and points out the ledging that goes around the entire building. He says that if Johnny climbs onto the ledge and makes it all the way around the building, he'll clear Johnny's name, give him a stack of cash, and allow him to leave with his wife. The alternative is a lifelong prison sentence, so Johnny really has no choice but to agree, and with that, he steps out onto the ledge. It's slow going, but Johnny makes some good progress, so the rich fella decides to make things a little bit more interesting. Just as he's rounding a corner, the man pulls out a horn and blasts it in Johnny's face. As he's about halfway, Johnny tries to take a breather, but the rich dude sprays him with a water hose and warns him that if he doesn't start moving right away, then he'll blast Johnny off of the ledge. There's also a pigeon that pecks at Johnny's foot, but the bird doesn't really stand a chance once Johnny finds a little nook to stand in. After some time, Johnny makes it all the way around the building and he climbs back onto the balcony. He goes inside and the rich fella says that Johnny did well and he won the bet. But he also admits that he's a very poor loser. He throws Johnny a bag full of cash just as promised, but when the bag falls over, his wife's head rolls out, and this causes Johnny to go ballistic. As the rich dude's bodyguard is going to shoot Johnny, General decides that it's a good time to get out of there. He runs by the gunman, causing him to lose balance and fall. Johnny then grabs the man's gun and shoots him in the back, but he decides to offer the rich fella a quick little wager for his life. We watch as the rich dude begins to shuffle along the building's ledge, but it doesn't end well for him. General is once again on his way, and it's not a moment too soon. He makes it to Drew Barrymore's house and chases some kind of creature inside. Drew is pretty excited to potentially have a cat now, but both of her parents think that it's a bad idea, especially because Drew already has a pet bird named Polly. General is kicked out of the house, and that night, we see a small creature emerge from Drew's wall. I'm not sure what this thing is, but I love it. The way that its lips move all funky-like, and its little knife, not to mention the huge set pieces that they use when filming this, there's just a whole lot to love about this little dude. At one point, Drew says that it's a troll, like in the story of Three Billy Goats Gruff, but I really don't think that this is a troll, like it's just too small. Aren't trolls supposed to be really big? This definitely isn't a troll, but they're saying it's a troll. Anyway. The creature that's definitely not a troll shimmies its way up Polly's bird cage, and he eats him. It then begins to go for Drew, but don't fear because General has spotted an open window and he climbs up for the rescue. General and the creature share an epic battle, and General is poked by the creature's knife, but ultimately the noise that they make causes the parents to wake up and the creature escapes back into the wall. Now there's a dead bird and there's a cat with a little bit of blood on him, so the parents blame everything on General and they decide that the cat is no good. The next day, Drew's mom catches General and she takes him to the pound to be put down, and thinking about this sort of thing makes me way too sad, so let's skip past this whole little bit and just skip to the part where General escapes and no cats ever die. General escaped from the pound, that's real in the movie, and no cats ever die, that's real in real life. So there we go, next scene. Night comes again, so the creature sneaks from the wall and he begins to steal Drew's breath. General shows up just in the nick of time and slaps the creature. He and the troll thingy then have a little fight once again all across the room, but the creature did shove a doorstop beneath Drew's door, so her parents can't get the door open. General is able to trap the creature onto a record player, and somehow he's able to turn it on, and then somehow once again he's able to control it and make it go super fast to increase the speed until the creature ends up flying off because he can't hold on, and he flies directly into a room fan, and he gets just torn apart, shredded into a bunch of tiny little not troll pieces. Drew's parents finally get the door open and they see the tiny remains of the creature and they realize that General is actually a good boy, and they adopt him and they give him a forever home, and it ends with Drew hugging the cat, and it's got to be the best ending to a film of all time, right? Like Happy Cat is best ending. You unlock the best ending ever. Anyway, and that's the end of Cat's Eye. And the more that I see anthology movies, the more that I think I just love them. Like, having this major time restriction really forces storytellers to be precise and creative in their narratives, and the things that they're able to come up with tend to be incredibly intriguing, and they always leave me wanting more. Like, I think my favorite of this trio was Quitters Inc., just because of the constantly growing paranoia, and I'm sure the fact that it was starring James Woods was part of it. Like, ever since I saw him in Videodrome, I've realized how much I love him as an actor, and so I'm sure that there's a little bit of a bias there. But his story is super interesting, and there's a whole history to it. Like, I could totally see his story alone being a full-fledged movie, but they were able to condense it and tell this really good story within just a tiny amount of time, 1/3 of the entire runtime. But anyway, all around, Cat's Eye was a lot of fun to watch. It had some really intense moments, some cool practical effects, and it starred a cat, so that alone, I think, made it the perfect movie. 10 out of 10. Best movie ever. Anyway, I do hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I'd love to know your thoughts on Cat's Eye and horror anthologies and just Stephen King. Just let me know all your thoughts. Just tell me all your thoughts. Also, remember, if you did have a good time, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next video. And a huge thanks to my YouTube members for the extra little bit of support. And if you'd like to become a YouTube member as well, then it's only $2.99 a month, and you'll find a link to that down in the description. You'll get a credit at the end of the video, just like this credit here. Look at that. Look at that credit. It's a good looking credit. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and until next time, you stay safe out there, and happy watching. Bye-bye!